Welcome to the Thrive Careers Podcast, the show that helps you move your career confusion to career success, hosted by the extraordinary Olajumoke Fatoki. If you're ready, let's jump right into it. All right. Welcome, beautiful people, to the Thrive Careers Podcast, your go-to show for professionals looking to build thriving careers. I am your host, Olajumoke Fatoki, and today's episode is all about staying competitive in the digitally transformed world. Our guest today is someone who truly understands this landscape. She has walked the talk and she's bringing all of the experience on the show today. Esther is an award-winning digital transformation leader with nearly 2 decades of experience driving business excellence across multiple multinational organizations. She specializes in strategic planning, marketing, sales, and digital innovation. She also serves as a board member and a non-executive director, guiding organizations in leadership development and digital transformation. Today, Esther will be sharing insights on the essential skills for success, how mid-career professionals can pivot into leadership roles, and what the future of digital transformation holds for careers. So, if you're looking to future-proof your career, I can tell you this episode is for you. Esther, welcome to the Thrive Careers Podcast.
Thank you so much, Jumoke, and it's really an honor to be here. So thank you for having me. Yeah, and you look really beautiful. It's good to...
Thank you. Now I feel so good.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to reconnect with you. It's been raining awards for you. And I mean, this is 2025. How are you pulling that off, Esther? We need to know the secrets. Please spill the tea.
So I do everything I am into without even thinking awards. So what is primary to me is getting it done. And if recognition comes, I mean, I give an example, the Digital Transformation Recognition in Africa by CIO magazine. I didn't even see the recognition. They didn't even reach out to me. It was my boss then that said, somebody forwarded this to me, Esther, congratulations. And I'm like, I was lost.
Wow.
I followed the link, and right there on LinkedIn, I had to chat up the organizers to say, I didn't get a message. Did I miss your email? After they said what they do is that they have a team of people who just look across the industry for people who are doing great stuff. And then they also ask for recommendation. So I'm not like, okay, so you don't know who is watching most times. So I think what is best for everybody, not to, you shouldn't do things just because of the award. Yeah, sometimes they're good. Recognition that, I mean, it gives you like a pat on the back that you're doing something right. But primarily, it's about impact.
That is really amazing. So it means that wasn't your focus. Your focus was getting the job done. The recognition is fantastic. And as a matter of fact, it always comes. But the first part is to put in the work. You can be sure that the recognition, whatever it is always going to come. Thank you, Esther, for consistently walking the talk, leading the way, and showing us what is possible.
Thank you again for having me.
We have a fun icebreaker question that we like to ask our guests.
Okay.
It's fast becoming a tradition on this show, right? So if your career journey were to be a movie, what would the title be and why?
Oh, okay. I'm given to watching, let's say, crime movies, investigative, journalism stuff, law, and maybe not so much of science fiction. But what comes to mind is this being an alchemist. An alchemist is someone who turns like basic metals into gold. And for me, since my journey, it's right from the start, even while I was at Nestle, it's about transformation, making, like just like what I said earlier, growing things, transforming things, bringing them from a place of nothing to be not being recognized to being recognized, place of no impact to big impact. And that's what I do every day for brands, and that's what I do for organizations, turning their challenges to opportunity, blending innovation with consumer insight, and helping to shape the future of the business, of marketing of their brands. So I call myself the digital alchemist. And if there's going to be a sign of word, I'll say the digital alchemist, transforming brands, inspiring change.
Woo! I love it. I love it. I think that's one of the best we've seen so far. The digital alchemist. I love it. It's so good. All right. So having laid that foundation, we are getting deeper. And that leads me to our first conversation for today. So what are the top skills that professionals need to stay competitive in a digitally transformed world?
I have not always been in this field, so I would like to start with that. So I started off in marketing, field sales.
Amazing.
And so now that I'm here, do we have anyone who is, looking to have this kind of pivoting or let's call it career transformation, or thriving in this digital world, regardless of what profession you are, whether you want to completely move to digital or even in your profession, be it human resources, be it a sales manager, be supply chain professional, or even manufacturing professional, what do you need? It's a mix of technical skill. It's a mix of strategic thinking. There are soft skills too that are required to make the mark, and then ensure in whatever field you find yourself, you have all that you need in terms of digital competency to thrive and make significant contribution, because that also is important. It's not about just having them. It's not about having those skills. It's about also making impact with them, transforming your profession. One thing that I've found that worked for me, I guess it's just the way I'm also wired, is I have this apathy for status quo. When you hear people say, this is how we've always done it, I mean, that's like a trigger for me, a trigger to the negative. We should always be thinking, yes, I agree. I mean, I know there's a saying that says, if it is working, or there's no need to fix it, right? If it's already working, don't fix it. But what we have seen in our world today, given the evolution of the workspace, evolution of our consumers and customers, because that is why business exists primarily, and their needs, their behavior is rapidly transforming. So we need to match up and catch up. And that is why every professional need to have the required skill to survive, to succeed, and to also bring, I call it big business, or make their business succeed in that regard, and here are the skills. First, you should be interested in digital literacy and know for your profession what are the next big thing, the now thing, and also the next big thing. We know, I'm sure every profession now, AI has found an integration in almost all professions. So you shouldn't be left out. You should be curious to say, how is artificial intelligence, how does it impact my industry? What do I need to know? How can I, I think the saying is everywhere now, but I would still say it, which is AI will not take jobs, but it will take the jobs of people who do not understand artificial intelligence. What about data analytics? As simple as it might seem, well, maybe to some of us, but I know data, when people hear data, they want to run away. But life is easier these days. There are now platforms that could help you turn your data into insight. And then you can spend more time in strategy for your business. Power BI, understanding the use of Power BI. Automation, a lot of things are automated. If you're still spending time, cranking your head, doing things that machines can do for you, you're not making good use of business time. And that's why digital literacy, digital fluency, you can't miss this one. It is important and it is relevant in all professions. What about strategic thinking? I said it's a blend of technical, strategic, and of course, soft skill, strategic thinking and problem solving. I get excited. There's this team member I have. Oh, she left the business not so long ago. She used to say, Esther, there is a problem. Whenever, as much as I want to correct her and say, don't always say there's a problem, but sometimes there's a way I feel excited because I know this is not another opportunity for me to come to play, to bring it. I just say, okay, tell me. I mean, I have never flinched. Every time she says there's a problem, I'm excited. I just somehow, I don't know if to call it excitement, but somehow I have this world of energy to say, let's hear it, because I'm always looking at solving problems. When I pivoted into this field, into tech, I've always been fully commercial, person. And how did I get the job? It was because I've always shown some what people would call digital enthusiasm. So I've always been like, when you say I'm a digital enthusiast, I've always been that. I'm always looking at how to use technology. And I didn't know the world would even end up this way. But I'm always looking for how to gain speed, how to get things done faster, how to get better, how to also get more business for my organization, how to achieve the objective faster and even better. So, and like the function I was in before, I was one of the people who pioneered the use of the handheld, the digital platform for the field staff at that time, to like the CRM platform to record their call conversation with customers, to track the business, moving from manual reporting to the automated type. So I'm sure these and some other things counted for me. I was appointed. There was no interview. Like, oh, we need someone to fill this role. And looking through the entire organization, Esther, you're the best fit. I know I took it as a challenge, and I'm still trying to explain the continuous learning part, being adaptable and being given to continuous learning. Okay, what did I do in that first month? I quickly started. If you are going to be an axe with to cut a tree, you have to be sharp. So what I did is to quickly scout and see, what do I need to know? What do I need to know to succeed in this role? I was clear because I asked my stakeholder, what do you want to achieve in the first year? What are you looking at in the next 3 years? So I was clear. So how do I then, go? So I knew I needed to sharpen the axe. And then, so I took up courses. I wasn't afraid to, they were not fields that I am familiar with, but with an open mind, I was able to, get it and to get mentors, okay? Because it's important. You need mentors. You need people who could coach, who should coach you, people you could run to and seek advice or coaching if you hit a dead end. A seeming dead end, because there is no dead end. So that is important. Then the last but not the least is leadership and change management. After all said and done, it is important that whatever skill you learn, your role bring value to the business. So, and that is where you separate the boys from the men. Okay, and whatever you do, are you able to link it back to business value? Are you able to deliver significant benefits to the business through and that's where leadership comes in. How you think. There's an overall business objective, and you're not running in silo. Every of your seconds or your minutes of your action, every of the spend have to bring greater return for the business. And that's leadership. Leadership skill is a must learn. And how do you learn that? It starts first by sharpening your business acumen. What's your understanding of the business and what the business needs? You need to look. Your leaders they're not interested in all the day-to-day running tactical stuff. They want you to talk business. Everything you're doing, how does it bring impact to us? What does it mean for the business? And that's it. And that leadership would help you manage the change, digital change especially. It's a journey. I could go on and on. Really, we know what the different stages of change management is. When people would resist. Not change is not always easy. You understanding. How did you share the vision? Okay, the vision, is it inspiring enough to get people to want to go the long haul with you? They're not complex, and you would see also that there are things that may be overlooked, but there are things that really count as top skills for professional who wants to stay competitive in a digitally transformed world. Yeah.
Amazing, 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 Esther. That was an entire masterclass.
And you have to,
and we are just getting
give
started.
Me a cue. I talk. I do that for a living sometimes.
That was an entire masterclass, Esther. And, the first thing that stood out for me is agility, your response time. You're prepared for whatever is thrown at you. You have that agility as part of your process, as part of your makeup. And I'm sure you didn't just get there in one day. Something you built over time, ability to respond in the face of challenges. That's the disposition we all need to have. I had curiosity as well. And I really hope that a lot of people, can learn from this. Sometimes I feel like some people get overwhelmed, right? With this constant change, the constant evolution. You think you have it today and then you wake up tomorrow, there's something new, and you just have to, stay on top of these trends. What advice do you have for people who feel overwhelmed with the constant evolution, the constant change in this digital world?
Okay. Good question, really. We all have situations that overwhelm us, whether it's personal or even professional. And one mindset that would help overcome that feeling of overwhelmingness is having a positive one. Okay. It's having an open mind, a positive mindset that whatever comes, I can handle. So that needs to happen first. So because it's a lot of these things that is about our psychology, how we are built. So first, to succeed and get over the overwhelmingness, it is important to have a positive mindset that, you know what, I can do it. And whatever is now overwhelming you, now to the second step, you should say to yourself, who around me or within my industry is likely to have an answer? So you want to also bounce off. And that's why networking is great. Within your industry, you need to know who to talk to, have good visibility of who around you you can, bounce off ideas with, bounce off even problems with. And this is where you need coaches, you need mentors. And when I say coaches, I mean people who would not give you the answer immediately, who would let you by yourself walk through and get to the answer. Sometimes I in my spare time, I do this, and I don't have much of a spare time. I have to already confess. But sometimes I find that answers to people's concern, whatever is overwhelming them, be it, of course, at work, and of course, within our landscape, the constant evolution of the times. I think after COVID, the world changed. It was like we came into a new world entirely. For folks that are in Africa, I'm not sure what it was like for people who perhaps were born in, the other continents of the world. But for folks in Africa, some people at that moment, when we transformed into a new world after COVID, some people lost it mentally. They couldn't just cope. They couldn't just keep up the pace. Like Jumoke said, it's don't think this is really a big hurdle. Most of us didn't get here in one day. Many people you see, especially in our climate, and if you look at maybe a particular age range, people who are perhaps like 30 to 40, around this age range, most of them did not start being digital They did not start. They met these are the people you call maybe some sort of early digital migrants. The people who are like 50 are the real migrants. There are people who are digital natives. Those are like people who are like in their 20s because they met the world with all the phones and they were born into it. Exactly. So if you are in that age range, like over 30, and of course you experienced COVID, and it was as if even your profession, you don't even want to understand it again. I've had people who came and said, I don't even know what I am doing anymore. It's as if I don't have a future in this profession. And I said, and I had to go through the coaching conversation. And most times I found out that there's so much they can do in their current profession. They are just not seeing. They are not curious also. And they have other skills should they decide to pivot. But how do they identify it? And this is where I ask people to use this Ikigai framework. The Ikigai, you know what you love to do, your passion, what you can be paid for, what does the world need? If you can answer those questions, at the intersection is your Ikigai. And that is where your peace of mind lies. You know what you're good at, what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what the world needs, and what skill you have that you can be paid for. At the intersection of this, I mean, if these people who are at the point where they're overwhelmed with what the world is turning into, and they can't seem to be able to keep up pace. If they can answer this question, they would see that their answers lies in their response. So that would be my advice for them. Don't rush it. Take a deep breath. There is no problem without a solution.
Amazing. Amazing stuff, Esther. Guys, one thing keeps reverberating for me across all the conversations that I've had in recent time, and that's the power of networking. It cannot be overemphasized. And Esther just touched on it too. Don't do life on your own. There is no problem that is without a solution. All right, we're diving into leadership. So how can mid-level career professionals pivot into leadership roles within digital-first industries?
Okay. It's a really good question. Now we've seen a lot of people who between 2020, I like making reference to, because it's actually a unique and defining year in the history of mankind and also in the history of career professionals, whether we like it or not. We see a lot of people move into the space. Digital first industry. And when we say digital first industry, we're talking about the tech native industries. And we're not saying like FMCG, where digital is an enabler to achieving the objective. But here in industries where digital is the core and digital is what they sell. It's how they do business and how they also deliver value. It's like embedded end to end, it's all digital. So for people who are mid-career professional, which like I said, noticed that people moved into the industry around that period. After that period, people started learning this data analytics, start learning social media management, digital marketing, started learning the coding and programmatic, all of those around that period. But now they're now faced with the challenge of, where do I also go from here? The money is good a lot of times, but sometimes you lose your fulfillment at some point. It may not bring satisfaction again. It's when you're perhaps just doing the same thing. You want to be given bigger opportunities. You want to lead teams and all of that. I mentioned earlier, like you rightly said, it's important first to build a very strong digital and business acumen. You need that blend. You need to understand how digital will drive business results. And this is what your stakeholder that is what matters to your stakeholder. You can speak all the English you want to speak in the entire world. You can speak all the technical terms and terminologies. The truth is, if you cannot explain how you bring value to business, how everything you do would drive growth, will help the business win in the market, how it will expand their margins, their profit margins, how it will also help them generate cash, then you're just speaking gibberish. And this is what it's important if you need to get into leadership role. So build your business acumen, your understanding of business, build it. Then, number 2, it's important to then develop a leadership mindset. You need to raise your hand up. You cannot just want to get by with doing just a little. There is a job to be done. And they say, so we'll take this. I mean, actions for meetings, next steps to follow up on. And they shouldn't, if you are there and you're truly serious about growing, and you're, like I said also before, you're not doing it for the organization or for your boss. Most times the benefits comes to you because you learn new skills. You get better. Even if the skill that you already have, you hone it by volunteering, showcasing your skills through innovation, through strategic thinking. Show how things can be done differently. And one thing which Jumoke also re-emphasized earlier is you need to have an expanded professional network. The networks are there, and the world is so beautiful these days. There's so many of them. Find the right one. Check out if they have, the community has what you are looking for. Okay? Engage with mentors, thought leaders, and digital communities. Opportunities might come from there, okay? And also when you see people also interact, hold conversation, there are things that you also pick that you probably haven't heard before, and you can just apply in your own stuff, in your own work purview. Then you also need to be able to demonstrate your transformational wins. How even the small initiatives in your current role, how it shows or showcases your leadership potential. You should be able to connect that dot. I would not stop saying this. So I think these are like points that are really, really important for mid-career professionals that are looking to pivot into leadership within the digital first industry. And the point is, like one of my bosses said, she isn't Nigerian. And of course, there's a popular quote also, I'm going to just cold mix them, is what got you here will not get you there. Your technical skill may have gotten you where you are. But to ascend into leadership position, it's a different skill. And in most cases, even your technical skill may not be needed. So what do you want to do? It may not be needed because it's not about the day-to-day running and all of those stuff. You should now be able to have a higher level of thinking beyond that first, the first line, whether it's first line management or even below that. You need to be able to start thinking at a higher level. Yeah, so that I think summarizes my answer to that. What got you here will not take you there.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. One strategic thing that Esther says, the only language that businesses understand is numbers. You have to be able to speak the language of the business. All right. So what are the most common barriers professionals face in adapting to digital change?
I think the first barrier that they face is fear of the unknown. Okay. We've all been there. What's happening? What is next for me? So fear of the unknown. I mentioned earlier, people will move into tech or the digital space after 2020. What makes them move? First is fear of the unknown. maybe in the profession they're in, they're wondering what's next for me, and they thought, okay, it's now time to pivot. Even now that you are here, there's still also fear of the unknown, and that links to the question you asked earlier. They now want to move up the ladder, and they are wondering, is there a space for me there? Is there a seat for me at the boardroom? Is there a seat for me at the top? So first, fear of the unknown, the top challenge. And I also see that also people being resistant to change is a barrier for them to adapting. Yeah, being resistant. I still see people who are my peers. When you bring an idea and it's digital, or it has to do with skills they don't have, they show some resistance. And I'm in my head, I'm like, this is an opportunity for you to learn it. I mean, you said something very aptly earlier, which is it's a higher level of leadership thinking. If you don't know and you can acknowledge you don't know and you can seek support or help, you will only get better for it. And the truth is, like I tell my boys, if you miss a question now, it is upon you, like a question made in the exam, or you made an error now, the onus is on you not to make it a second time. So, and that goes also for professional. If you don't know it now, doesn't mean you will never know it. It's an opportunity for you to learn. So you can overcome the fear of the unknown and resistance to change through continuous learning, having an open mind and having a growth mindset. Someone with a growth mindset will say, I don't know it, but I can learn it. But somebody who has the growth, the limited, or what do you call the opposite of growth mindset now? Most times I think growth. The fixed mindset. Most times I think growth, so I don't know the opposite. Continuous learning will help overcome fear of the unknown. Saying to yourself, whether you're sticking in your profession, just say, if I know what's the next big thing in this profession, and I go learn it, then I have a chance to make it to the top in this profession. And if you're pivoting, you still don't need to fear. All you need to do is to go for continuous learning. What skill do I need to do well where I'm going? Whether you're pivoting or you're also aspiring to be a leader, then the growth mindset, open-mindedness is very critical. The number two, I'm thinking of, skills gap, okay? So you can also get that sorted through your continuous learning. You just be honest with yourself. To thyself, be true, okay? What skills do I not have? Put it on the table. Prioritize. Which one will I learn in the next quarter? Which one? And take your time. Like we said earlier, and we agreed, baby steps. Don't look at the big stuff, okay? Break it down into smaller chunks of actionable activity to do. And you can close this gap of your skill gap through training and through mentorship, okay? We have said seek mentorship, join a community. And let me just add one more. And that would be some organizations also need to support, okay? So, and I'm saying it because I know you are an HR professional and some HR professionals and leaders would also hear this. Organizations should start pushing forward a culture that values digital transformation. And that can happen through advocacy, holding strategic conversation. I said we have organizations that are digital native and those that digital is just an enabler for. And in those organizations where digital is an enabler, people tend to hide and say, oh, we only sell chocolate, or we only sell soap, and do not think of how can digital enable our business results, get us faster results, help us win in the market, help us expand our margin, or how can digital also help us generate more money? How can we leverage digital to win as a business, and even reach our objectives? So there's a need for organizations, okay? Some people, the barrier, they will say, my organization does not support. Please do something also for yourself. Okay, now I've put out words on your behalf for organization, but then you too, you shouldn't use that as an excuse. It may be a barrier, right? But it's not a dead end. Okay, so pick up yourself and then chase the dreams.
Fantastic, Esther. So the fifth question is, what trends in digital transformation should professionals be preparing for in the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay, I would say artificial intelligence is still evolving. Okay, so don't say, okay, if I miss learning it, okay, maybe I can get away with it. No, it is still evolving, and there's constant improvement. This space, things change before you can blink. Okay, you blink, you miss. So AI and automation is a way it is reshaping marketing, consumer service or consumer care, and also operations, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's supply chain. It is reshaping things there. So you better get on board. And there is also the rise of the metaverse and extended reality. It may not work in our context, well, depending on the context you are. I know this is a global platform. So for global leaders, that is something to keep your eye on, the extended reality. So we've gone beyond the virtual reality, augmented reality. We are now in extended reality. It's opening up potentially new space for brands to drive engagement, for businesses to win, be visible, stay on top of the mind of your consumers. Let me add one more point, and that is, of course, the future of work is evolving. We have people now who never have to even go to work again, okay? So you need to develop some discipline in that regards, okay? To be able to do the future of work most times is maybe remote collaboration. So you need to start learning those tools, how to navigate the future of work. There are new models that are driven by AI, and of course, there are different models of digital tools. So be prepared for the future of work for your profession. Find out, how is my job evolving? Okay, you don't want to be the typewriter and computer person, okay? Yeah, you can actually be only if you learn the skills of how to use computer. Okay, I mean, I'm sure you understand what I mean by typewriter. People would, like my mom, she was in the typewriter age, and she was actually very good at it. Like, we had all this Pittsman textbook in my house, you know, ASDF,
column LKJ.
So, but LKJ, exactly. So, so you want to start saying that? I think it was one of my sons that said something. I mean, I think we're just speaking and deliberating, and I found that later on, you may not even need a hardware laptop, or anything. You may just have to, in the air, click on your home, go in the air. Just if you have a device on you, you can access your laptop at home, your drive at home. Just like this. You need a document, pam, pam. Okay, I've sent it to you. And like that. So, and that's what, I mean, you don't have to press your phone. You don't have to press any hardware. And that's why I talked about the extended reality. So steps for staying ahead. Like what I would say is just be open. Make sure that you are in touch with your reality as it's peculiar to your profession. Okay, be curious. Stay curious, and not just stay curious and take action where necessary, and do not be afraid. There is always an answer. There's always a solution. There's somebody who has been there, who has done it, and who has gotten results. So,
fantastic. So for me, in a nutshell, be adaptable. Don't be set in your ways. The world is evolving, and you should. Thank you so much, Esther, for leading us in such a fantastic conversation. But before we move on, right, we have some rapid fire questions that we are prepared.
Bring it on.
Fun. So no overthinking, right? Just say the first thing that comes to your mind, and, we'll take it like that. So this one is almost like a giveaway, but I'm still going to ask you, digital or analog? Are you a fan of handwritten notes or digital tools?
Both. Let me shock you.
Wow, you played the fast one
Both.
there.
Both. I love digital tools for driving efficiency. But guess what? I still love my handwritten notes.
Interesting.
It helps me drive or capture my creative ideas. I feel, even though I'm fast with the laptop, fast also with using the keyboard on my phone, but I think there's a connection within me writing and then my brain. So I don't want to lose that blessing.
I love it. And I think I agree with you. But you pulled the fast one. You're supposed to pick one. It's okay. We forgive you. All right. So what's one skill every professional should master in the digital age?
Data storytelling. And you can never stop learning in that regard.
Amazing stuff. Our final question on the rapid fire category. So, Esther, if you weren't in your current field, I know this one would be tough. What career would you have pursued? There goes the silence.
Politics.
Oh, wow.
Politics or consulting.
Wow.
Because transformation, I think it would help me put to use all my skills, and it, I think it's a natural there. And what I've just done with all the field I've worked in is to bring my innate ability, the willingness to always want to make a change, drive impact to bear. So politics, because it's about human behavior, guiding transformation. It is something that fascinates me, and driving change for people, organization, and societies. That's something I maybe. Okay, so look out.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. You have me rooting for you all the way, because I agree with you. You got this. Okay. Thank you so much, Esther, for being so vulnerable, for being so inspirational, for, sharing without holding back. That means a lot for us on this show. So one bonus question, Esther. To be honest, I didn't plan this question, but as you were speaking, and I'm sure that something in you is already telling you the direction that I'm going with this question. Okay. Esther, how are you killing it? What is your secret sauce? We look at your home front, you're doing amazing. I see it, even though I'm not really very close to you, but I see it. We look at your career, you are killing it. You still have time to mentor people, to help people build their career. How exactly are you able to combine all of those things and make a success out of it? So Esther, take it away, please.
Thank you, Jumoke, for that question. And the first thing that comes to mind, I tell you, I am a believer in God. And I am not ashamed to say it. So I have like a divine ability that has been conferred on me by God. And, when the scripture says I can do all things, so I don't see myself being limited at all. I think that mindset and that divine ability, number one for me. So I'm very, I don't even waste time to give it back to God. Number two, I have a solid support system that is led by my husband. Okay. I have a superman for a husband. He's so much interested in my growth. I'm sure maybe you would hear when we were setting up, we're both working from home today. It was helping me set up. No. I said, the lights, okay, I'll check. And because the boys were, they were in school at that time. They were not back yet. So, and that's how we run things. It takes me to speaking engagement. When I have speaking engagement, we look at his calendar. It's like we have, our calendar has been meshed. Started, you get what I mean? So he will say, I'll be available. We would go together. And he's there providing support. Even up till there are some courses that I take that my pay cannot support. So, and it's there to see how we can pool resources, to make sure that I be the best that I want to be. And I think that even on the home front, there are things that many men may not, we don't think like typical African. So you see, it's there, we're working in the kitchen, we're gisting, and it's a woman's, and the beautiful thing for me is because he's into consulting, and his job is very flexible and stuff, so into financial advisory and stuff. And so we're able to blend. And I think having that structure, and as a woman too, like I would say, be sure that you don't take those also for granted, okay? It's not, and if your man is not doing it now, you shouldn't say, go and see Esther's husband. It's a journey. We didn't get here now. It was a journey. Understanding individuals' vision, and then we see how we can navigate through life together while still staying in love and then in God. So that's for me. And one last point that I will always say to every woman: get help. Nobody gets an award for superwoman. There are some things you can outsource. I know people would live in certain parts of the world. It may be very expensive. Maybe that's some advantage that we in this other part of the world also have. But I tell you, if you have opportunities but then there are also advantages in those other parts of the world. There are things that takes up our time, like traffic, that you don't have there. So maximize your time, get help, then maximize your time. And that's how I've been able to, get a lot of things done within the same 24 hours that we all have. Okay. So those are the three key things. Okay.
Amazing. And there you have it, listeners. Don't say Jumoke didn't do something for you. What better way to bring this conversation to a close? Thank you, Esther, for sharing that much with us. The God factor, having a solid support system, understanding each other's vision, getting help. No one wins the award for being a superwoman. Thank you so much, Esther. This has been an insightful conversation. You've shared valuable insights on thriving in a digitally transformed world, how people can break into leadership and, stay ahead of industrial trends. But before we finally wrap it up on this edition, where can our listeners connect with you, and how can they learn more about your work?
Okay. I didn't mention that I'm an author of 3 books. So, and you could get those books on Seller. I can share the link with Jumoke.
Yeah.
And so you can access those books on Seller. And I'm on LinkedIn also. And I'm on Meta too. But I just do personal stuff there. But then you can connect. I'm mostly doing, I'm a faith-based person. So, and I enjoy doing it, inspiring people to, get their priorities right, putting God first. So, and there's a community of book lovers, but we only want book lovers. We don't want to carry extra baggage of people who are not ready to. If you're really interested or you want to love books, so we'll make you love books.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity. And I have to just add this. I think this is like about the most interesting podcast I've been on. Maybe because some of your questions just hit home. It helps me. It helped me to pour, like from the wellspring. So thanks for curating those questions systematically and intelligently.
Fantastic, Esther. Thank you so much. You couldn't have said it any better. And to our listeners, if you found today's conversation helpful, do not forget to subscribe. Be sure to leave us a review and please share this episode to someone else who needs it as well. All right. And until I come your way again next time, keep thriving in your career. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for today's episode of Thrive Careers Podcast. I am Olajumoke Fatoki, reminding you that no matter where you are in your career, you have the power to rewrite your story. If you've enjoyed today's insights, do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready to thrive. Do you have questions or topics you would like for me to cover? Let's connect, and I'd love to hear from you. Remember, clarity creates confidence, and confidence leads to success. Until next time, stay inspired and keep thriving.